In one of the last few videos I did, last week or the week before last, I talked about mentorship as a way of accelerating your career growth. I'm going to talk about another way, a second way in this video on how to accelerate your career growth, and it is using an advocate. If you don't know what that is, that's okay. Keep watching, and I'm going to teach you all about advocacy and the importance of using an advocate to accelerate your career growth. Hi, my name is Shawn Sommerkamp, and this is Motivationeer Christian Coaching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Please hit the bell icon so you can be reminded every time I post a new video, which I do 2 times per week. Please also consider becoming a member at motivationeer.com. Your membership really supports this channel. Thank you. Let's start with a really simple definition of an advocate. An advocate is someone who acts as a go-between so you can reach somebody else that is going to help accelerate your career. Because you don't know that person yet, you're asking the advocate to kind of step in on your behalf and make that introduction. This is really one of the beauties of LinkedIn. You can do this all the time. You look on LinkedIn for somebody that you're trying to reach because you're applying for a job, or maybe even inside a large company that you're in and you want to find out who's connected to you and that person. Go to LinkedIn. They tell you who the second and third degree connections are, and then the actual software itself lets you set up an advocacy in a sense. This idea is found in the scriptures, and one of the coolest places is the story of Joseph and the cupbearer. As you know, if you know the story, the cupbearer, the baker, and Joseph were all in prison. The cupbearer and the baker both had dreams. They were haunting, terrifying dreams to them, and they went to Joseph and said, "Hey, what do these dreams mean?" Joseph translated them, and they were both amazed. As the story goes, the baker ends up being executed, but the cupbearer is going to be released way before Joseph is being released. So Joseph says, "Don't forget about me. Please help get me out of here." He was asking the cupbearer to be his advocate. Speak on my behalf, represent me, remind people of me so I can be freed. Now, interestingly, in that story, the cupbearer took a full 2 years to remember Joseph. So the reason why I like to tell this story is when we use advocates, it doesn't mean it's going to be a super fast turnaround. It's not like you're pulling an advocate lever and then every type of career accelerating idea you have instantly manifests. Sometimes it takes time. So what I recommend you do is consider who within the organization that you're working in or want to work can really make an impact on your career. Somebody that you want to get exposure with. Maybe you want to get a great idea of yours in front of this person who is the ultimate decision maker about executing on those ideas. Whatever it is, identify those 1 or 2 people and then start looking for people who know them. Because of COVID-19, you're not, but if you are in a large building, a headquarters of some kind, watch the person in action, see who's going up and meeting with them, who has lunch with them, and then just go to that person and say, "Hey, I noticed that you have a friendship with them, or you work for them, or work with them. Would you be willing to make an introduction?" Now, what will increase the chances of the advocate saying yes is if you have good reason mapped out for what you want to achieve in that introduction. The advocate isn't going to want to promote you or support you or advocate for you if it's not a really solid, thought through, intelligent idea. So be sure you plan that out very nicely, which means you're going to want to know what you're trying to achieve. And then just go ask the advocate. You can have the advocate do it multiple ways, like sending an introduction email, walking you right over to the person, setting up a 3-way call, maybe even just sending a 3-way text. That happens a lot with me in my business as an executive coach business owner. I do this all the time. When we do this, we also want to make sure that we're putting it before the Lord, asking God once again to find favor in the eyes of the advocate and the person you're ultimately going to be introduced to. The idea at the end of the day is to gain exposure. When more people know about who you are, especially those people that are in high-level decision-making roles, the greater the opportunities you'll have for advancement. And an advocate is a great way to do that. A couple more quick examples from the Bible on advocates. We know in the story of Esther, Mordecai was the one who let Esther know about the plot that Haman was setting against the Jews to kill a bunch of the Jews. So Mordecai was never going to be able to reach the king. I think it was King Xerxes in this case. So he required Esther to be that advocate, and she did risk her life to do that. In one of my all-time favorite passages in the Bible, it says, "And who knows where Mordecai told Esther, and who knows but you have come to a royal position for just such a time as this." Great story of advocacy. David David also had Jonathan as an advocate. Saul was already in this demented state, had already tried to kill David once or twice. David was not going to be able to reach out to Saul and say, hey, what's going on? Because it would risk his life. So he initiated the help of Jonathan, Saul's son, to advocate on his behalf. Jonathan did that very well with Saul, I think on 2 occasions. He went and said, hey, why are you trying to kill this man? He's innocent. And the advocacy worked very well, and Saul let David back into his presence. As you know, the story didn't work out in the long run, but it's a great example of advocacy. Perhaps the most famous one is how Jesus advocates for us before the throne of God. He is our mediator. We pray to God through Christ. Christ petitions his Father on our behalf. This concept is an ancient concept. It's very powerful when we use it effectively in our own career. So think it through, make some plans, choose wisely, and then get the advocate to make that connection for you. It will pay off in the end. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for 2 new videos each week. Tell me in the comments below about your career situation, and I'll make a video for you with a shout out. You can also become a member at motivationeer.com. Your career is not just a way to make a living, it's a way to transform the world.